Hi, this is Kelly with Gia's Italian Kitchen. Thanks for joining tonight. I am here with Nate and Shelly in the Brick Kitchen in Independence, Iowa. Thanks so much for having me.
Thanks for coming.
This is so wonderful. So they are launching their new kitchen space. The store is this beautiful store. It's only about 30 minutes north of Cedar Rapids. If you have not been here, quick trip, worth the trip. And you have so much beautiful accessories and equipment for your kitchen. But today they're launching their cooking space. So we're going to talk about that and really just get an introduction to the Brick Kitchen. So tell us, how did this come about?
Well, I've told the story a bunch. It's just something that we as a family had talked about. We don't really know when it started, probably when our kids were younger, and now one of them was out of college and the other one's a senior. So it's been going on for a while. And I guess when we would go out of town on vacation somewhere, we'd end up at a mall or some little touristy whatever. And, where's Dad? Well, he's in the kitchen store. Because it's where I would just end up. And they kind of sucked me in because they'd have all this cool stuff. And I always walk in, it's like, oh, I see something. It's like, oh, only I have this, then I can make this. And that's, and actually I got shut down. I wasn't allowed to buy any more kitchen equipment for a while. But at some point in time, somebody said, I wonder if a store like this would work in Independence. And it was just a very whimsical family conversation for years. And neither one of us really know when, but that conversation just all of a sudden started to take on a little bit more seriousness. And we would say, well, if we could, whatever. And it just kind of started to take on a life on its own. Mm-hmm. And we looked at a couple places and nothing really had worked out. We really wanted to be in Independence because we love the whole downtown. So that's a whole other conversation. But we just never found the right place. And after a few years, we just kind of figured that ship had sailed. Okay. And then this fabulous building called King's Hall just fell in our laps. And we were kind of keeping the purchase a secret that we were going to partner with another couple and buy it. And our daughter was honored. We didn't want to tell anybody. And our daughter was shortly leaving to spend a semester in Spain. And we were driving by, and we said, okay, we can tell her because she's going to be in Europe. She's not going to tell anybody. And we said, okay, that building we're driving by? And she's like, yeah. We said, we're thinking about buying it. And she goes, are you going to open your kitchen store? That was the first thing that came to mind. So, awesome. The kids knew, and it just kind of we had the place and we had the space, and we did some more research because now you got to put your money where your mouth is. Sure. Will it work? Yes, it will. I think it will. But then if you got to actually put the money down to make it work, you hesitate a little bit. It's like we really got to look into this some more. And we visited a couple other kitchen stores that we were familiar with in Minnesota and Wisconsin. One gal in a little town in Siren, Wisconsin, really, really opened her doors and just told us everything we wanted to know. And after we visited her, we got back in the car and we just we can do this.
So she kind of gave you the framework on how to get started, how to get inventory.
Yes. Stuff. Okay. We had gotten some guidance too from some different professionals out there. Okay. It was kind of daunting, everything that the investment we need to make, how you should be setting up based on the square footage, how much inventory you should open your door with. And that's one thing we're very concerned about is when we opened the door, we wanted to make sure it made a positive impact. We didn't want people to think that this is a hobby. Because it's it's our business. So that was our biggest concern is what do we do to fill the store to make it look like we mean it. Yeah. So that was a big conversation we had. But visiting with the other owner in Wisconsin, that's when we came out and said, we can do this. We can do it with what we think. And then another advice that we got from another mentor was open this store you can afford, not the store you want. So we
good advice.
Yes. Mm-hmm. So that was one of the things we talked about too is how do you make it look full? How do we stay within our budget? How do we, because we knew once we opened the door, then we could figure out what else can we do? How much more should we bring in? What should we bring in? Because that's the biggest thing too is what are people going to want when they walk in our store? Right. And every region is a little bit different. Every territory of the United States is different, even from here to, Wisconsin, Illinois, Southern Iowa. What people buy tends to be a little bit different.
Sure. So this is kind of your playland. Right?
Well, I don't know.
Yeah, for me, yes. No.
Yeah. I mean, I love it. I'm having the time of my life. But when you open a business and this is what I'm going to do from now on. There's some times you wake up at 2:00 in the morning, your eyes are wide open, like, oh my God, what have I done? There's those moments.
Sure.
But yeah, it's been rewarding, but also a little humbling. The reception that we've got, not just from the people in our community, but all of Northeast Iowa. And you talk about what a short drive it is from Cedar Rapids. We have so many people in here from Cedar Rapids every day, and people that drive over from Dubuque and Cedar Falls and all the surrounding.
It's really
communities.
not that far.
No, it really isn't.
isn't.
We just, and we knew we had hoped eventually we could become a destination store.
Yeah.
And by the end of our first summer, we were there.
Yeah.
And that's what really, so we kind of like, okay, we should have looked even, at the broader picture. Instead of saying, could a store like this work in Independence, we should have asked, would a store like this work in Northeast Iowa?
Sure.
And, so far the answer has been a resounding yes.
And downtown Independence is adorable. There's restaurants and shops and the brewery. So it definitely is a destination to come to Independence, come to the Brick Kitchen, and have lunch.
It's a great
shop.
comeback story, our downtown, and a lot of, just a sidebar, we've got a very historical downtown, and there's a lot of rejuvenation going on, things being restored, things being updated, and it's a really good time to be. We hit it perfect time to open a business in downtown Independence.
It's beautiful. I love it. And so we're sitting at this ginormous island, and then we'll take you to the other side of the kitchen in a few minutes. We'll move the cameras. But it is a beautiful kitchen. Much better than any residential kitchen that I've ever seen, and you are going to introduce some cooking classes into here. I know we're not ready to launch that yet, but that's what this is for, right? So 100%. Do you want to talk just a little bit, give a little teaser?
I'll give a teaser, and then you can talk more. But
okay.
So we've been meeting with some local chefs, and when I say local, in Iowa so far. Actually, we've talked to a couple out of the state too, but we'll be launching soon on our Facebook page towards the end of August or April. Okay. April, we'll be doing our first classes in the new kitchen. We did last Saturday. We threw up a demo. Nate decided to do some cooking with some more, some of the equipment we sell in the store, some of the seasonings that we sell in the store. We did some demos. So I think starting on Saturdays, we're probably going to try to consistently do some demos. So when people are in here shopping, they can stop, check it out, see what we're doing. And so besides the cooking classes, we'll be doing some demos during store hours also.
Awesome.
And that's just, something that we always knew eventually we would do it, but just the overwhelming requests from our customers.
Sure.
They say over and over, when are you going to do this? When are you going to do this? And it kind of, pardon me, it kind of just became a no-brainer. And it was kind of like, well, where are we going to put it? How are we going to make it work? And so we had to talk with our cabinet designer and kind of figure out how we were going to, and then, and Shelly did most of this, and it came out fantastic. And we've got, a big five burner cooktop, which is gas, which, most chefs really like, myself included. And then down below we have two matching convection ovens. And right now this countertop seats about 8. But we can roll a couple displays out of the way and can put up a couple tables and could easily do a class as big as 20, depending on what kind of, if it's just a demo class or if it's a hands-on class where we have everybody doing the same thing. And so we've just got a lot of ideas. And again, we've studied what a lot of other kitchen stores throughout the country do on their cooking classes and trying to gather ideas from them.
So we belong to a buying group that's specific to kitchenware, kitchen gadgets,
kitchen stores.
Yep. All kitchen stores. So anytime we go to a buying show and our buying group gets together, we pick people's brains constantly. And there's a couple that have been in the industry, 40 years.
Wow.
And they're well known across, not just our buying group, but across the nation, they're well known. And they'll feed us whatever we want to know. They tell us. So
they're open to telling you and really becoming kind of your mentors for this process.
And there's one gentleman in particular that's had a very successful store in Texas for 18 years, and he just said, "Come spend a week, come spend the summer, and we'd like to get down there." And he's just, here's my card. Call me anytime. I can share with you my forums on how I do, everything from cooking classes to, figuring out his inventory or all kinds of things. It's been amazing. And that gal that we originally talked to in Wisconsin, we still communicate with her on a regular basis. It's been we haven't done this alone, because we've had some really good advisors to help us.
We all need advisors and mentors, right? No matter what industry you're in, everyone needs a mentor. Well, I'm so excited because this is such a perfect pairing because you have amazing products on the floor, and for someone to come in and be like, "Hey, what do I do with this?" Here you go, right? This is where it's going to happen, and you're going to showcase what you've got.
The most popular part of our store is in the back where we have all our oils and vinegars.
Right. So let's talk about that.
Yeah, everybody loves the oils and vinegars, and they hear that they taste them and they try them, and we're really big about sampling everything, not just oils and vinegars, but barbecue sauces and rubs and Worcestershire sauce and everything that we have for sale. We try and have one taster somewhere so you can sample it before you buy it. And so a lot of people will, as they're sampling the olive oils, they just love them. I want this, I want this, I want this. And then through the course of the conversations, we're telling them how to use it. Then they go home and they forget. How do I use this? How do I,
Or they come back and tell us what they did differently.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing. Everybody likes to share what they've done.
So we can incorporate all those things of what we know, what they know, and use that here. So, okay, you use a garlic oil, garlic infused olive oil for these 2 or 3 things. Well, look what more we can do with that. Or, cooking is like a blank canvas, where you just want to get ready to paint. You can do anything. Yeah. And all you do is just grab some of the reds, the blues, or some of the garlics, and the parsleys, and the basils, and just go to town. Yeah.
Well, and you have those recipe cards too. So for the olive oil that has some really fun stuff. One of the ones that one of the gal that introduced us, I think she made with the blood orange olive oil. She added it to chocolate brownies.
Yeah,
I never would have thought of that, and it's like decadent. Amazing.
It's decadent, isn't it?
So,
It takes your box brownies and kind of turns them into a gourmet, really high-end type. Yeah, it's wonderful. So so any of the flavor-infused olive oils, any recipe you use that has a fat in it, you can substitute one of the flavor-infused oils in it.
Yeah.
So, definitely. It's pretty amazing.
And that's one thing, we've just come out of a pandemic where everybody was, and let's face it, there's not nearly as many restaurants as now as there was beforehand. Yeah. And so, when everything happened, people had to stay at home and cook. And so okay, I've got all these tried and true recipes that I've made and everybody loves them. Well, after 3 months of the pandemic, they're sick of those tried and true recipes.
Right.
And so you've got the recipe that everybody used to love, now it's stale, but you change the oil or you add the solvent to finish it. And all of a sudden that old, now tired recipe gets new life because it's got a little more complex flavor, or it just changed the dimensions of it completely.
Yeah. So tell me a little bit more for people that haven't been here. The is it pronounced Olivia? Olivelli.
Yeah.
So that's the brand of all the olive oils back there, and it's amazing. You can purchase it just extra virgin olive oil, or you can purchase it with the flavor. So tell us a little bit about this brand.
So Olivelli is based out west. It's actually founded by a mother-daughter. It's a woman-owned business.
Okay.
They're wonderful people, but they're just brilliant when it comes to designing flavors and what's the right amount of flavor versus whatever the blend. I mean, just everything they come up with is just top of the line. But they start with a really, really high quality olive oil. So it's all extra virgin, all single estate. They are frequently in the Mediterranean, dealing with small independent growers.
Okay.
So they're really getting the best of the best. And then, like you said, some of it they have 3 or 4 varieties of just straight uninfused olive oil, and then they have all kinds of different flavors. But Bree Thompson, who is one of the founders, she has a palate so sensitive. She's achieved the highest level of olive oil tasting certification, just like you have people who taste wine.
Like
and
a sommelier.
And so she's like the equivalent of that, but only in olive oil.
Okay.
There's only 12 people in the world that have this certification.
Oh, that's
and
amazing.
just with a little drop, she can detect every defect and characteristic of
Oh my
olive
gosh.
oil. And so to have somebody like that designing, choosing the oils and designing the flavors, and it doesn't stop there. They have a wide variety of seasoning blends. They've sourced really high quality Italian pasta and seasoning blends, and then you get into the salmics. And when you say, oh, we have oils and vinegars, people hear that word vinegar and immediately they think, ooh, the apple cider vinegar. If you've not really, a balsamic it's so sweet and it's so robust and it's just
if it's a good one.
If it's a good one, if it's a good one. And we tell people for starters, just use it like a condiment. Just use it. Some people put ketchup on everything. You just go put dark barrel-aged on everything.
Yeah,
It's amazing.
I mean, I put balsamic on top of my pizza and stuff. There's a
little bit
of pear over top of my pizza. I put just the dark barrel-aged balsamic on my eggs.
Ooh, I haven't done that.
So I'll go back and tell them about the olive oil. It's first press. So why is this different from what you buy
it's always
off the shelf in the store?
It's always extra virgin, first press. So extra virgin olive oil, and a lot of people just think olive oil is olive oil.
No.
It's really not. So an extra virgin olive oil is literally it's the olives that are peak ripeness, at the peak time, and everything is they harvest the olives and it's literally pressed within hours after being picked, and then after being picked, and then you have virgin olive oil, which it's still pretty good, but it's not the best defects. It's still there's going to be some defects in there. It's probably not it's probably pressed within a day or two of being harvested.
Okay.
And then you have what's known as Lepante olive oil, and Lepante olive oil is everything that's left. Which and for forgive me for being crude, it's the crap. It's the underripe, the overripe, the withered, the whatever, and they clear everything up, and it'll sit in piles for days, and they'll press it into oil. But originally, that was the Lepante oil was what they used to burn in lamps, like Aladdin's lamp and things like that. And that's where the term Lepante comes from. The only problem was it was literally not fit for human consumption. But the lamps go away, and they've got all this Lepante oil. What do you do with it? Well, they figured out a way to heat it up and add some chemicals to it and do all kinds of stuff to it and completely refine it. And then add a little olive oil for maybe a little, extra virgin olive oil for a little taste or whatever. And that's what they call pure light olive oil. Yeah. So if you're at the grocery store, or even if you look at your pantry, grab your bottle of olive oil. If the very first thing on the ingredients list is refined olive oil,
don't buy it.
Well, it used to be poison. At one time, it was unfit for human consumption. Now everybody talks about the health benefits of olive oil. By the time you refine it to make
it's gone.
It's gone. Yeah. There's no health benefits whatsoever.
Yeah. So the quality is way different from what you get here. Right. But we do also for individuals when you come in, we always have a tasting table. Right. But we also do free group tasting classes. Come in and we go through what we call olive oil 101. So we have you taste that refined olive oil. Okay. We talk through that and compare it to what
it should
high quality olive oil really is. You can smell it. You can taste it.
It should taste like an olive.
You can feel it on your tongue. Yeah. So that's kind of fun. It's fun.
And we do that in a group setting, and it can be up to 20 people. And it's usually if we have a group, we know they're going to come in. We'll set it up ahead of time, but we don't charge for that. Okay. And everybody gets together, and it's just kind of a quick educational deal, and everybody leaves knowing more about olive oil and understanding a little bit how to use it.
So call us or email us if that's an interest.
Yeah, we'll put all of their contact information in the post, and we'll tag your cabinet guys or whoever we want to tag, so that people have directions and a pin and everything on how to get here. So, what other products would you want to highlight from the floor that we haven't talked about?
Pardon me. We've got a growing selection of knives.
Nice.
And it's what really changed it for me from going to liking to cook and loving to cook is when I got a really good knife. And then it's just because let's face it, if you're gonna make a big dish, you got to chop a lot of something. it gets really, really tedious.
Mhm.
But when you get a really good knife, it's almost a joy. To just because you're just going through stuff, and there's been some bad news along the way. But, yeah, it's like
how you want it.
yeah, and a lot of people, and she mentioned the class that we had. I think you mentioned the class we had last fall, where we had some beginner knife skills classes, and it was very obvious that most people never used a sharp knife before.
Yeah.
And
because of the weight they try to put into it.
Yeah.
Using a double knife.
Okay.
so that's something that we've got a good supply of, and we're gonna in the next few weeks we're gonna really ramp that up because again, it's like I don't care what level of chef you are, you never have enough good quality knives. And I think that's one thing that's really going to grow here because it's just everybody can use it, and it's just and choosing a knife is very personal too, because what I want really fits well in my hand, you can be so and you're not going to like it.
Okay.
And what really fits in your hand, I can't stand it. She'll be like, oh, I can live with it, because it's just it's a real personal thing. Because we all have different sized hands, we all have different techniques, so we want to make sure that we have a good selection of high quality knives, and that's something we're really building towards is having more knife choices.
So do you have multiple brands?
Yeah, we have right now we have Zwilling, which is a real high quality German brand. Miyabi knives, which are a brand of Japanese knives, and those are all handmade.
Oh, wow.
And not only they're handmade, but they're made. Some of the knife makers are 7th and 8th generation.
Oh, wow.
Knife smiths, and it's funny if you go back that far, it's quite possible that the guy that made these knives, his great grandfather was the guy making samurai swords.
Oh,
it goes back that far. And then of course,
so
Willing is started in Germany. They go back to the 1600s.
wow.
They've been around for so long. We have an American brand called Messermeister. It's an American brand, but it's all German steel, and a brand called Hammerstall, which again, American company, German steel. And we got a couple of brands that we're working with. We want to add soon, but I'm not going to say anything. I'm not going to say anything until we get it in the support.
So when is your next knife safety class? I feel like I need to take that.
Well, that's
like we could all use a knife safety class, right?
well.
Kitchen basics, not just knives. Things about kitchen.
How many people don't know the difference between stir and fold, or all those little things. And that's one area that like is just kitchen fundamentals. Because a lot of people just don't know those basic things. And, when I was doing the demo the other day, somebody was using a stainless steel pan, and somebody was looking. It's like, oh, that looks like it's going to be impossible to clean. I'm like, well, let me show you how you can clean something. And I just threw some stuff in there really quick, and all of a sudden we had a real simple dipping sauce. And how so many people don't know about that, and how easy it is. And the difference that stainless steel pan makes over a non-stick. Right. How much more things you can do with that. And we've been conditioned to use non-stick, and then we're wondering why our food doesn't brown.
We'll talk about our pans then too.
So our pans, we've got a real good line of pans. Our biggest selling one is called Black Cube. Okay. It's a hybrid pan, so you have some stainless steel properties, you have some non-stick properties. That's our biggest seller. We have stainless steel pans from Heritage Steel, which is all made in Tennessee, all American made, very high quality, multi-clad. And that's what I was cooking with the other day. And then we have De Meyer, which is a higher end stainless steel, and that's made in Belgium. And again, that's a cookware company that goes back to maybe the 1700s or something like that. They've been in business a long time, and they make really high quality stuff. We have cast iron from Lodge. Everybody knows Lodge. And then a new company, new in the last couple of years, called the Field Company, which is, you have to see it and touch it to understand it, but it's absolutely beautiful cast iron, and as functional as it is beautiful, and made mostly in Wisconsin. And then we have we have some Tramontina, which is kind of
a more price point stainless steel cookware company, which is Brazil, but very, very high quality, and ceramic line of cookware from Ballerini, which is an Italian brand.
Okay.
And so we try really hard to find products made in the US.
Yeah.
But if we're going to be really honest, we're still a very, very young company.
Yeah.
And there's companies in Europe that have been, they've been cranking out cookware and bakeware and cutlery longer than we've been a country.
Sure.
And there's if we're really going to provide the best of the best, we have to look, in all directions.
Sure.
So we brought in some good European brands along with some really good American brands, and it's a good mix because we want to make sure that we have quality products. So,
when you talk about a good mix, one of the things we try to do is we try to bring in like good, better, best.
Sure.
So we have, the different price points for people. I mean, our competition is not long. We're not
Right,
like that.
right.
That's not what we're doing. We're trying to do good, better, best. We still have quality products, different price points for everything.
Good to know. Yeah. Good to know. Well, it's definitely a destination. So tell me one more thing that you want folks to know about the brick kitchen that we haven't talked about.
I was pretty well.
Yeah.
yeah, so we've got, and you can see it off camera here. We have a new line called Fat Daddy-O's, which is it's aluminum bakeware, but it's I would say near commercial quality. It's been anodized, so it has some non-stick properties to it. But the anodization process also makes it a little more resistant to acidic foods. So if you do baking with a lot of fruits and stuff like that, there's a lot of acid in fresh fruits. So you're adding your fruit purees and things like that. Over time, that acid can eat through a traditional aluminum pan.
Okay.
Well, this anodization process that they've got protects that pan. And it's beautiful cookware, really lightweight.
A lot of springform pans.
Yeah,
I love those.
A lot of
springform pan. You need to get springform.
Well, and then down at the bottom, we're pointing off camera, which is probably what I know. The ones on the bottom all have beautiful bottoms.
Oh, nice.
And then all the different sizes, round pans, and the cooking rods are interesting.
What's a cooking rod?
So a cooking rod is almost I'm just going to grab one. So it looks like a
looks like a thermometer.
Yeah, thermometer. I was going to say for the gearheads out there, it looks like an inch or a pound actually.
Okay.
But so then you set this down in your round pan, and then pour your batter. And this, as your pan heats up, this rod will heat up as well, and that'll give you an even bake all the way through the middle.
Oh, so if you don't have like the bundt pan or the angel food or whatever, this is kind of the job.
So and then when you get ready to take the cake out, you just put your cooling rack on top, hit the whole thing over, take your pan off, you pull this off, and you're probably going to end up, you got a little indent, a little hole there, but just cover that with brown.
So how much is that? I need one of those.
$5.99.
Okay, sold.
Go put that next to the oil.
Yes, I have my big jug of olive oil over there ready to take home. Well, thank you so much. This has been so much fun. So we're going to push this out onto all the socials. We're going to turn this into an audio and put it on a podcast, and we'll just tag and get this out there. And we'll put all of their contact information on how to get here and how to get in touch with them. Shelly and Nate from the Brick Kitchen, and I'm Kelly with Gia's Italian Kitchen, and we will see you soon. Let's get cooking. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Kelly.